There exists a prison so masterfully designed, so seamlessly integrated into your life, that most people live and die inside it without ever realizing it was there. No walls, no bars, no guards. And yet, it restricts your every move. It limits your decisions. It silences your desires. You don't see it because it doesn't exist outside of you. It exists within you. From the moment you were born, you were handed a script. This is how you should act. This is what success looks like. This is what love means. This is who you are allowed to be. No one told you it was just a script. No one told you it was optional. You were too young to question it. So you accepted it. You followed it. And slowly, unknowingly, you built your identity on it. But here's the terrifying truth. That identity you wear so tightly isn't who you are. It's who you were told to be. And the life you're living now is not the result of your deepest potential, but of your deepest programming. And what if? What if the limitations you face, the patterns you repeat, the pain you carry, are not random, not fate, not bad luck, but symptoms of the invisible cage? You see, this cage doesn't keep you in with locks and chains. It keeps you in with ideas. Ideas about what's possible, about who you can be, about what you're worth. You were programmed to doubt your own brilliance, to second-guess your intuition, to settle for survival while calling it a good life. You were taught to fear your own power, to fear your own voice, to fear freedom. Why? Because a free mind cannot be controlled, and a person who awakens to their true power cannot be manipulated. But here's the secret they never wanted you to know. The door to the cage has always been open. You just never looked. Because the programming doesn't just trap you, it convinces you there's nothing outside. It tells you that the discomfort you feel is just growing up, that the emptiness is normal, that the yearning for more is a foolish dream. But that yearning is not foolish. It's the call of your true self. It's the alarm clock in your soul trying to wake you up. And if you're still watching this, you're already waking up. You're already questioning the script. You're already hearing the whisper from the deepest part of you that says, "This isn't all there is." Let me be clear. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are simply trapped in a reality you didn't consciously choose. But once you see the cage, once you really see it, you can never unsee it. This is the moment everything begins to shift. Not because someone out there is going to save you, but because you're about to take back the pen. The one that's been writing your story all along. You're not here to live by default. You're here to live by design. And the first design you must rewrite is the one inside your own mind. This is the beginning of your jailbreak. Not from the world, but from the invisible program that built your world. And what lies beyond the cage? Everything you've ever dreamed of. Everything you've ever felt was meant for you, but could never quite reach. Until now. You were not born afraid. You were not born doubtful. You were not born broken. You were born aware, curious, boundless, limitless. But somewhere along the way, that changed. Not all at once. Not overnight. But slowly. Quietly. Like a shadow creeping in beneath the door. The question is, who dimmed your light? Who taught you to shrink? It wasn't just one person. It was a system. A web of subtle signals. A carefully designed architecture. And at the center of that design, something incredibly dangerous. The illusion of safety. From the moment you could walk, you were rewarded for obedience. Not the truth. Not authenticity. Not emotional honesty. Just obedience. You were taught. Be a good boy. Be a good girl. Smile when it hurts. Say you're fine even when you're not. Suppress your anger. Numb your sadness. Hide your wonder. You were conditioned to fit into a world that doesn't fit you. Taught to trade freedom for approval. To silence your inner voice in favor of external validation. That's how the programming began. And make no mistake, it was deliberate. Because a fully alive human being is unpredictable, uncontrollable, unstoppable. But a conditioned human, they're manageable. They follow the rules. They buy what they're sold. They believe what they're told. And the worst part? After enough repetition, you stop needing anyone else to cage you. You began doing it to yourself. You became your own warden, monitoring every thought, judging every desire, policing every dream. And so the inner voice that once whispered, "I was made for more," got drowned out by another voice that says, "Be realistic. Don't be selfish. Stay safe." But safe for who? Your fear isn't your fault. It's a program. And like any program, it can be rewritten. The people who raised you, they were running their own outdated software. Their voices became your inner critic. Their beliefs become your boundaries. You inherited their fears, their wounds, their self-doubt. And now you wear them like your own. But here's what no one told you. You are not your programming. You are the one who can change it. This system doesn't fear rebellion. It fears awakening. It fears people who see the strings, who realize the puppet show isn't real, and who decide to walk off the stage. And the only way to begin that awakening is to ask the question no one wants you to ask. What if everything I was taught about myself was a lie? What if you're not lazy, not weak, not unworthy? What if the truth is, you've been carrying emotional weight that never belonged to you? You didn't choose the culture you were born into. You didn't choose your childhood environment. You didn't choose the traumas that shaped your lens. But now, you get to choose your response. The moment you become aware of your programming, you become its master, not its slave. This is where the true work begins. Not in the outside world, but deep inside, in the code. In the stories running your mind. You were programmed to forget who you are. Now, you're about to remember. This isn't a motivational speech. This is a recovery mission. You're not here to escape life. You're here to reclaim it. Piece by piece. Layer by layer. Lie by lie. Because the most radical act of rebellion in a world built on illusions is to tell yourself the truth. And the truth is, the cage isn't real. The fear isn't yours. And the limits were never yours to begin with. They were given to you. But you don't have to keep them. You're not a prisoner. You're the architect now. And in the next phase, we're going to dismantle the cage brick by confronting the subconscious rules you've never questioned. There are rules in your mind, but you didn't write them. You just followed them. Blindly, religiously, until they became invisible. But these rules, they shape everything. What you believe you deserve, what you think is possible, what you allow yourself to feel. So here's the question. Where did they come from? Who told you that crying makes you weak? Who told you that failure is shameful? Who told you that love must be earned? At some point, someone handed you a manual. Not in words, but in behavior. In tone. In punishment. In silence. And in that manual were rules like, don't speak unless spoken to. Work hard, then maybe you'll be enough. Keep your head down. Don't dream too big. Don't rock the boat. Don't be difficult. And worst of all, don't trust yourself. Let that sink in. That voice inside you, the one that whispers truth. You were taught to ignore it, to replace it with noise, with guilt, with shame, with performance. You were taught to prioritize other people's comfort over your own truth, to shrink so they could feel tall, to dim so they could shine, to disappear, just to be loved. And over time, those rules became your reality. You stopped questioning them. You stopped seeing them. They weren't rules anymore. They were facts. So when you hesitated to speak up, when you second-guessed your own dreams, when you found yourself stuck in cycles of self-sabotage, You didn't realize. You weren't broken. You were just following a map you didn't choose. But now you see it. And the first step to freedom is brutal honesty. What unconscious rules have been running my life? Maybe you were taught. Success means burnout. So now you feel guilty resting. Maybe you were taught. Love means sacrifice. So now you confuse pain with connection. Maybe you were taught. Speaking your truth makes you a burden. So now your silence is choking you. These rules were never true. They were just repeated often enough to feel real. But here's the twist. A rule is only powerful when it's invisible. The moment you name it, you take its power away. So take a breath and start naming them. I was taught that I'm too much. I was taught that my needs are selfish. I was taught that failure means I'm unworthy. Say them. Write them. Burn them if you have to. But don't carry them anymore. Because none of these rules were written by your soul. They were carved into your mind by people who were trying to survive their own pain. They pass the poison down like an inheritance. But you can choose to end it. Right here. Right now. You are not your programming. You are the one who sees it. And because you see it, you can change it. But don't expect applause. Don't expect validation. Because the moment you stop playing by their rules, you'll scare people. You'll remind them of everything they buried, everything they're too afraid to feel, everything they gave up to belong. But that's not your burden to carry. Your only job is to live from truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's lonely, even when it costs you. Because freedom always costs you your cage. You don't have to burn your life down. You just have to stop living a life that's burning you. And in the next section, we'll go deeper into the identity behind the programming and begin the process of meeting the real you beneath all the layers you were taught to wear. There's a version of you beneath the layers, before the shame, before the masks, before the shoulds and should nots. This version wasn't perfect, but it was pure, unfiltered, whole. And maybe, just maybe, you're starting to remember them. The child who danced without asking. The teen who dreamed fearlessly. The soul that loved without proof. That you never died. They were just buried. Under years of conditioning. Under pain. Under stories that were never yours. But if you close your eyes and listen, truly listen, you'll still hear their voices. Faint, fragile, but alive. And now, it's time to bring them home. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. You were not born with doubt. You learned it. You were not born ashamed. It was handed to you. You were not born to be small. You were taught to shrink. So now, you're not healing to become someone else. You're unlearning, undoing, coming home. You might feel scared. That's okay. You're walking into unfamiliar freedom. A freedom where your emotions are not weakness, they're wisdom. Your voice is not too much, it's medicine. Your dreams are not delusions, they're direction. Your boundaries are not rejection, they're protection. This new life will ask you to disappoint people, to break generational patterns, to sit in silence and let the old stories fall apart. But every time something falls away, you make space for something real. You will lose versions of yourself you once clung to. You will grieve identities you built just to survive. But on the other side of that grief is clarity. You'll begin to move differently. Not to impress, not to prove, not to perform, but to live fully. Finally, you'll laugh louder, breathe deeper. Love is softer. And you'll look in the mirror and see not someone who needs fixing, but someone who was never broken. Someone who simply forgot their worth and had the courage to remember. So thank you for walking this journey with me, for facing the shadows, for choosing honesty over comfort, Truth over approval. Healing over pretending. It takes immense strength to do this work. And if no one has told you yet, I see you. I honor your courage. And I'm proud of the version of you that refused to stay asleep. This is not the end. This is the beginning of the rest of your life. You are free to write your own story now. So, write something beautiful. Thank you for remembering yourself, for choosing the light, and for letting me walk beside you on this path, even just for a little while. Now go live it.